Hello everyone and welcome back to Groove Gaming. It's been quite some time since I've done another PvP build video. This time it's not going to be one of my own original builds, as those original builds are not necessarily meta. Today we'll be taking a look at one of the meta builds for Guardian. And ladies and gentlemen, it's finally time to whip out our good old staff, Azimuth. After a long wait, it's finally back. And it's viable because Bunker Guardian seems to be pretty strong. I have not yet tried it out. This will be my very first time trying it out, but I have everything set up, and I'll be going over the traits, weapons, sigils, amulets, all that stuff that I'm taking. And just to point out again, this is a Metabata build, which you can find on the Metabata website, and I will link that down below in the description for those of you who would like to go and check it out yourselves. But I have high hopes for this build because I love Staff Guardian in general. There's obviously a couple issues with it, but I'm very excited to be playing it again, and hopefully it goes smoothly. So let's just jump right into the build. So of course we'll be taking a staff, and then our next weapon set is going to be a mace. Whoops, a mace and a shield. Now this whole entire build is based around Aegis, and Aegis healing people and keeping them up and preventing them from getting CC'd. I've played a couple games, specifically Revenge of the Capricorn, and CC seems to be quite a big thing. Like if you get CC'd, you'll get locked down and you'll just get bursted like a cyst. It's not gonna be pretty, but it is effective. If you are on the enemy team, you should be wary of interrupts and CCs and slows and dazes. So yeah, watch out for those, and Aegis will help. So this is just we are taking Sigil Leeching and Sigil of Renewal on both. There isn't one weapon set that takes a different thing. They're both Leeching and Renewal, which I tend to like because it's not like, oh, what does this weapon set do? What does this weapon set do? It's all the same, which is really good if you have a hard time memorizing which things do which. Our rune is Rune of the Monk. I'm so glad to be running this again. I used to take Rune of Duena. Then I noticed Rune of the Monk, and it is so much more effective. And yeah, I'm just glad to be running this again. You're gonna pump out some heals, and I'm very excited because I love healing, and I think Guardian thematically fits it, and I'm just kind of sad it's almost left in the dust. Magi's Amulet. Amulet we're taking. Pretty straightforward. They did remove Cleric's Amulet, which I'm kind of sad to see because I would always run Cleric's Amulet for the extra toughness and survivability. One thing I would suggest if you are going to be changing the amulet around, and one thing that I would suggest to the Metabattle website is to change it to Mender's Amulet, or Sage's Amulet if it's here. I think Sage's Amulet could be really nice. Oh wait, never mind. Scrap that. I thought Sage's Amulet was healing power. It's been a while since I PvP, guys. Sorry. Scrap Sage's Amulet. Never mind. Mender's Amulet or Magi's Amulet would be perfect. Apologize for that. Mender's or Magi. Perfect. Now we're going to move on to the specializations. The first spec tree or specialization line we're going to be taking is Honor. Honor is always great. Honor is more of the support line, and being Bunker, it is very much needed. Vigorous Precision, base 1. When delivering a critical hit, you gain Vigor. And next we are taking Protective Reviver for the knockback, especially when we're going to be reviving allies for the extra CC. And Crowd Control, which is CC. Sorry guys, I'm in a bit of a daze. Selfless Daring. When you dodge, you end up healing allies around you. This is very strong, and seeing that you have 2 heals, you can get pretty much 3,000 healing off, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're in a high stakes situation, that 3,000 healing could really bring you up and your teammates up, so they don't die. Next, we're taking Pure of Heart, which means whenever Aegis blocks, it heals people. This will be a really big thing with this build because this build is based around Aegis and spreading Aegis and healing through Aegis. It's going to be very effective. Next, we're taking Force of Will, which you have increased vitality, and healing effectiveness is increased based on how much health you have. One thing I typically take is Writ of Persistence, which means that your symbols heal. Apologize for the noise. but which means that your symbols heal. I typically use this. I very rarely actually take Force of Will, but we're going to see how it plays out. I like Rid of Persistence because your symbols are larger, they last longer, and they heal. And I just like pure raw healing. That's my usual playstyle, but we will test Force of Will out. Next, we're going to be taking Spider's Spoon, which means whenever you use a healing ability, you will smite conditions. And when you're using a meditation, it'll play in with Monk's Focus. Most of you will know Monk's Focus. If you do not, Main Guardian, whenever you have a bunker build, Monk's Focus is a really, really, really big part of the build, because you're going to mostly be taking meditations. And whenever you use a meditation, you're going to be smiting conditions and healing. Next, Stalwart Defender. Baseline shield abilities recharge is reduced and gain additional toughness because we are taking a shield with Mace and shield. So it's going to be really nice. It'll be really nice. And then finally we're taking Dragon Hunter. I think this could be changed out for virtues. Possibly. That's if I could change one line and make it work. I don't know. But we're going to see how Dragon Hunter plays out. It's not something that I would go to. I'd usually go for virtues. But the first one we're taking is Piercing Light, which means that your trap stays and has reduced recharge. So that's nice. Next, Hunter's Determination. You gain Aegis and drop a Fragments of Faith trap at your location when you are inflicted with any CC. So that's really nice. More Aegis, more healing, and Fragments of Faith is good because it dazes them as well. And next we're going to be taking Hunter's Fortification, which removes conditions when blocking attacks, and you receive less damage when you have no conditions on you. For this build, I don't know if there's too much condition removal. I know there is a Spider's Spoon, or Smite Conditions, which takes conditions off you. I can see that, but anything else is not super clear. I don't know if this doesn't seem to be doing anything, but we're going to see how useful that is. Okay, well, we've covered our weapons, sigils, amulets, runes, and we covered our specializations. Now we're going to be talking about the actual weapons and our utilities. So we're going to start with staff, because I love staff, and Azimuth is bae. Everyone praise Azimuth. Wave of Wrath, basic auto attack that is actually really, really strong if you have like a giant team fight on a node. Does minimal damage, but when you hit those 5 targets and you can continually do it, it can ramp up to a certain degree. Next we have Orb of Light. This is a very, very fast moving orb, and it has a slow recharge if you detonate it, but it has a fast recharge if you don't detonate it. So Orb of Light is a orb that fires, and if it passes through allies, it'll heal them, and if it passes through enemies, it'll damage them. But if you detonate it, it'll heal the allies more and damage the enemies less. So it has a dual function. Whenever I would use Orb of Light, I would not detonate it unless my teammates are in extremely low health. I usually let this keep bursting out without detonating it because it has such a short cooldown, but if you detonate it, it resets to 10 seconds on the cooldown. So it's kind of sad. Next, Symbol of Swiftness. Great for starting a fight. It's a symbol that you place down and you get Swiftness. Oh yeah, I forgot to show. Wave of Wrath, Orb of Light, and then you detonate it, and then that's the symbol. Next, we have Empower, which is a very, very big heal, and also grants 12 stacks of might, which is always really nice, especially if you are in a team fight, and you have allies around you, and it's really heavy pressure, and you just need to get that extra bit of damage to gain that edge. And finally, we have Line of Warning, which just means you create a ward in front of you, and no enemies can pass through it. Allies can, enemies can't. One thing to mention with the team fighting situation, with this build you should be in a lot of team fights because you don't really want to be alone. You are very essential and widely utilized in team fights because you are meant to be healing people. And if you're alone, you can't really do that. Next, the Mace and Shield. Auto attack is really nice. The final attack, Faithful Strike, does quite a bit of healing. I think they buffed the healing on this in the latest patch, and it actually affects 3 targets. The damage does, and then the healing affects 5 targets. And I believe its radius was increased a little bit, so that's really nice. Symbol of Faith. This, I realized, I think it got an audio update.
Refreshing.
Yeah, it sounds a bit different from what I remember. But Symbol of Faith is a symbol that does moderate damage and puts a really big stack of regen. This regen can actually ramp up because it has a very short cooldown, 8 seconds, not a long cooldown at all. So use that whenever you can. Protector Strike. This is a channeled ability, and whenever you are attacked, you will unleash it and damage all the foes around you in a circle. But if no one ends up attacking you while you're channeling this, you're going to grant protection and Aegis to yourself. Really nice. Simple. I typically use this when I know I'm going to get attacked. I don't use this prior to going into a fight because I typically have Aegis up already. Next we have Shield of Judgement. This is a wave that you send out, damaging foes, and grants protection and Aegis to allies. So there is a lot of protection and Aegis going out with this build, so you're gonna be a stalwart defender of your allies. And last but not least, for the weapons, we have Shield of Absorption. They've fixed this, or not necessarily fixed this, but changed this so that you can actually use it while moving. And you can detonate it for a big burst of healing, which is usually what happens. That's usually what I've seen people do. But the shield will knock enemies back and prevent projectiles from entering the dome, your sanctuary. Speaking of sanctuary, they changed that, and I actually really like using it. Not a part of the build, but I just wanted to point that out. Okay. And then our F1 through F3 abilities. Spear of Justice is basically just a spear you throw out in a line, and it can pierce multiple enemies and applies burning and crippling to them. Use this on cooldown. You usually just use it. It's a no-brainer to use. Wings of Resolve. This is an extremely bursty heal if you can use it properly. The Virtue just grants passive healing, but the actual active ability, if you have like your whole entire team on a node fighting and they're low health, you can pop this in there, pop that, pop Wings of Resolve, and then Shield of Judgment, and then just Shield of Absorption, and then explode that for the healing. You can get some real nice heals, fam. Pro tips. And then F3, Shield of Courage. The Virtue, aka the passive, just gains or just grants you Aegis, and the active will actually put up a wall that will block enemies who are facing in front of you and block projectiles that are in front of you. So those are the F1 through F3 abilities. Moving on to our utility. Our healing we are taking is Purification, which is the Dragon Hunter Trap. I understand why they took this. Shelter could be nice, but Purification does have a fairly short cooldown, so I understand. Plus the days. It's always nice. Damage is really low, but the initial healing when you actually place it is fairly low, but when someone actually does trigger it, you basically get back all your health. It's really, really nice. And then boon on trap trigger, you get regen, and it blinds enemies. Next, we're taking Smite Condition, which I find kind of weird because we're already taking Smite Condition through our trait line. You think we would take something else, but what do I know about Guardian? So we're going to be taking Smite Condition, which is a very, very short cooldown ability. It cures conditions, and it damages people in an area, and you'll deal more damage if a condition is cured. So use this when you have a couple conditions on you, cure those conditions, and get more damage on the enemies. Plus, you can gain healing from the trait. Next skill we're taking is Contemplation of Purity. This converts your conditions into boons. Side note, remember when I said I don't understand with all the... I don't understand where we're taking the Condi removal? Now I know why. There's actually a lot of Condi removal. Wow, I didn't actually realize this until actually I was talking about it. Wow. Duh. Next we're taking Fragments of Faith. Your bread and butter skill for this build. Aegis, damage, days, and stability. What more can you ask for on a fairly short cooldown? 36 seconds cooldown, not too bad, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Usually I use this and I'll turn around and it's back up. And then our elite skill is Renewed Focus. This will recharge all of your virtues that you've used. So in an ideal situation, you will use Spirit Justice, Wings Resolve in, heal everyone, and if there's someone downed, you'll use Shield of Courage to shield them, revive them, knock everyone back because you have that trait in honor. and then use renewed focus and reset them all and get fury and healing. Yay! So that is the build, and I will transfer over to some gameplay. Hello everyone, and welcome back. It's time for some gameplay footage, and spoiler alert, this game was actually really fun. I thought we were gonna lose. I don't know why, but this is actually my very first game that I did. I recorded the last part you saw, and I just got into a game, and this was the very first one, and I was actually very excited. So here, I get to mid, because I usually, like, hey, mid is usually with a lot of players, so let's go where all the players go. I ended up line of warding just to give us some time to actually get the point. And then this other guardian's like, hey, I'm a trapper guardian, and I'm gonna try to burst you down. And I'm like, no, bitch, no, I'm gonna heal through it. And I end up healing through it and getting him down. It wasn't the most challenging fight, not to degrade the other player, but he wasn't the most challenging guardian to me. No shade, but like, no shade. So I get this point, and then I realize there's no one here. So let's go to the point where there's all the people dying. So I'm like, okay, let's just go. And I noticed that they're done their work. I was not needed, but I was very sad that I couldn't get that healing potential if there was a large fight at home. So like, I'm going very slow here. So let's go with some swiftness. And that's when I realized there's actually enemies going for mid. So I'm like, what can I do to make their day horrible? And I realized I got this Spirit Justice. Sadly, I forgot to press the pull button, which I end up using. I end up using the pull very strategically, and I kind of was like, yes, that was a good play. But we end up getting down, and you've been noticing that whenever I use my Orb of Light, I don't detonate it. I didn't really find a situation in this game to detonate it. There was one part towards the end when I feel like I could have, but I will get to that point when that arises. We encountered this Necro, and he was a very let's just say he wanted to play Ring Around the Rosie for a little bit, and Kroof is not a fan of Ring Around the Rosie, and I got a little salty because I'm like, he's going in circles. So like, okay, we have to engage him. He ends up running around over here, so I'm like, thankfully we're not going to be stuck running in circles. The Guardian is back, and the Necro's there too. That's when I pulled him. I was like, that's some good shit right there. That was really good. So I really enjoyed myself when I did that. I'm really popping all of my Aegis, because I realize there's another person here, so let's keep them up. Let's put the potential for the healing and the support to the test. I get the shield, and I start detonating it. Thankfully, the Necromancer goes down, and the Guardian is about to go down. Fairly decent amount of healing, if I have to say so. I was not expecting this to actually be really bursty, but I think I'm actually going to be maining this more. The other games that I played on this game are on Revenge of the Capricorn. I would usually go Trapper build because it just does insanely high amounts of damage. But actually, I love the healing playstyle, and this is like right up my alley. I line of warding there, which is not like... probably shouldn't have done that, but I'm like, hey, I gotta do it. Get some more regen just in case. Realized there was a Condi on me. Got off. And now we're just moseying along to the bell section. Thankfully or sadly, no one was there. But this is the point where I look at the score, I'm like, damn, we're butchering them. I'm like, oh my gosh. So this is when I knew this game was going to be a solid game. So we go to home, and this is when there was a little bit more interaction with the healing and the making sure people are up. Someone's down, I use my, get him up, knock the person back. And this is when the CC really starts to come in handy with the shield. Shield 5 is a great CC. It's really fun and fulfilling. Gives you a good sense of like achievement when you actually use it on a point and you just knock everyone off and you're just like denied. But it was really fun, and managed to get a lot of healing out. I use Wings of Resolve here, and it actually heals them for 6,000. Then again, I did not, as you saw there, I did not detonate my Orb of Light. I'm gonna use Wings of Resolve here really soon, right here, actually it's for 6,400. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. It's not Guardian, and I think the way I look at it, Guardian support isn't like a druid or an elementalist. Though I wish I wish it was. Guys, next expansion, next Guardian Elite spec, please make it a support. Please. But Guardian support, I think I've come to terms with that it's not a conduit of healing energies. It's more of a, I'm gonna shield you and prevent your damage, but when there is healing needed, I'll give you a burst of it. But that's like all I can manage. And then here I'm like, time to split up some of the fight if possible. So I land a warding just in case he ends up coming back, and then I can trip him up a little bit. Thankfully, or sadly, he did not. I wish he would have though, because that would have been pretty good. There's another Guardian, aka Dragon Hunter, there that keeps going down. Right here is when it gets actually very, I was like, ooh, no, this person's going down quite a bit. So I'm like, let me use all my healing and all of my cooldowns just to make sure that he's not dead. I end up using my F3 and getting the Necromancer down, which is a really good strategy if you're ever downing someone and you can predict and you know that it won't be like a devastating blow if you use it and it's wasted. Like if you use it and you down them and you think you won't need to have it again soon, do it. But here, this is the end of the game. This is when we actually get it. We get the bells, and this was a very, very smooth game. Not super healing intensive, but I just wanted to show you a little bit of it, and it was really fun to record, and I really loved it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and subscribe for more content. There will be more videos coming along the way very soon. Like, if you liked the video, comment down below what you think about this build, and what other builds I should be checking out. But you can see my stats here. I actually put a lot of boons on my allies, and I actually did a lot of healing. I was very proud of it, and I actually ended up getting top player. So yeah, kudos to me. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Crew out, bye!